Okay, we're going to talk about PGP and cryptographic methods. We're going to talk about what PGP is and how it came to be and a little bit of the history of it. It's not going to take very long, but this is the cryptographic standard of PGP. For PGP, you're going to have two keys. You're going to have a public key and a private key. Your public key is used to encrypt your document, and your private key unencrypts it or decrypts it. And this wasn't feasible when there were secure key exchanges. So here's how it worked. You have a document called Frank. In this case, the person that wrote this PowerPoint was Jay Dyson. So he used his public key to encrypt this document called Frank. Then that got sent over as an encrypted message to the receiving end. The receiving end took it and got Jay then undid it with his private key. And that allowed him to see what was in quote unquote Frank. So that's pretty self-explanatory how it would work. However, you're not going to send yourself an encrypted message. So your document Frank would have been Jay's public key. It is sent to the created an encrypted message. You send this encrypted message over to Scott. Scott's private key will open it up because it can get Jay's public key and figure out the hash. Okay, so what is PGP? Well, it's called Pretty Good Privacy. It was a high-level security cryptographic software application that allowed people to secure and encrypt documents and files for privacy, authentication, and convenience. And if I could have gotten it to work, I would have had y'all do a PGP example of how you would do this. But for some strange reason, the software wasn't one to work. It was developed in the mid 1980s by Phil Zimmerman, who released his first initial PGP on the internet in 1991 and got NSA's attention really quick. And he also encountered patent issues with the RSA and the Merkle-Hellman cryptography patents. So he kind of tried to flex some muscles that he didn't really have. So then in 1993, after all that, he chose to sell it to ViaCrypt. ViaCrypt then, they already had an RSA license, so that took care of the legal ramifications. However, they re-released it in 1994 as RAS or RSA Ref, and it was a toolkit. And that toolkit was purchased in 1998 by Network Associates, and that's where it came to be more popular now. PGP version 2.6.2 at the time of this in 1999 was the most current version. It is not now. And it's basically for DOS and Unix platforms. It's the MIT PGP. Then they had a freeware version called version 5.x, and that's mainly for DOS, Windows, and platforms, although it's generally regarded not as secure as version 2, but it's freeware. And it's not backwards compatible with version 2, so don't even try it. And then you have version 6, which is your desktop applications, your commercial products, PGP Desktop Security, PGP Personal Privacy, PGP Freeware. And the freeware version, like I said, is not backwards compatible with version 2 or the MIT PGP. And I would highly encourage you all to go out and download a PGP program and see what you can do to encrypt it. Create your own key, encrypt it, decrypt documents, upload it to the keyserver.pgp.com so that you would actually have a published public key. What is PGP? How do you generate it? Well, it's not just a phrase or a single password like CIT 2053 or 2513 or whatever. An example of a good passphrase would be, so you think you can hack my passphrase by hearing me say it 2 times. So remember, passphrases are case sensitive. So that makes it a pretty hard time for someone to try to break, even if it was using this statement. You don't want to use quotes or lines from history, popular movies, books, anything that would be a dictionary type style of attack, so that the information is out there, but it's not easily gotten into. Because if someone breaks your public key or can get into your private key, then you're in trouble. The last step is to input a random text, just put like 456, 789, just to kind of fill up the buffer a little bit so that it has nothing to do with whatever you're saying. And it takes the time to measure the time intervals between those keystrokes to validate that's who you are. Those random bits are used to create your user key, and then they will be put into your public and private keys as key rings. All right. The PGP will store your public key in a key certificate, which is your public key itself, the ID of the key's creator, usually your name and your email address so that people can look it up, the date the key was created, and an expiration. Yes, keys have expirations. And then a list of digital signatures provided by the people who can attest to that key's authenticity. So it's not as easy as what you think, but if you download software, those software creators will have a list or will provide that digital signature to validate your authenticity, that you created it. So those are some things you want to look up. Here's some different books and stuff that might be beneficial to you. Applied Cryptography, attrition.org, International PGP homepage, MIT PGP, the NAI PGP, which is pgp.com. That's where you would publish your key. It's keyserver.pgp.com. Then you have Pretty Good Privacy, which is put out by Simpson Garfunkel. And then PGP RSA and PGP Delman Huffy, DSS, frequently asked questions at scramdisk.clara.net. So those are some pages you might want to go take a look at. Like I said, if you have any questions, feel free to email me.